Well, thank you for staying. It is time now for me to serve you my blunt thoughts. And I've titled it Of Poor Prioritization, a Bleeding Fire Service and Unfulfilled Promises. It's used for government to address urgently. Of poor prioritization, a bleeding fire service and unfulfilled promises. It's used for government to address urgently. And let me get right down to them. I'll be telling you about this. I recently got very interested because the 2025 GetFund allocation for MPs stands at 400,000 per member of parliament. It's not that 400,000 is going to them, but there's a breakdown. Let's go to that breakdown quickly. You will see that in terms of education, we are looking at 250,000 for education-related projects. And I'll tell you about the projects. But 150,000 for monitoring education-related projects. That's where I am scratching my head like, yo, members of parliament, what's going on? Like 250K for the education-related projects, 150K for monitoring the projects. What's happening? Let's go to the next slide. Now, in terms of the budget, right, Parliament has agreed to amend the MPs GetFund allocation from 350,000 to 400,000. And you see, this is where it gets interesting because this was what was budgeted for, but there was hue and cry in Parliament, majority and minority, okay, to increase it to 400,000. What's interesting, I've not heard of any of our MPs who often portray themselves as saints and all of that. You know, I've not heard of any of them complaining about it, not on the majority side, not on the minority side. No one is complaining about this large quantum of money being allocated to them just on the educational front. Now, let me just make this point before I proceed. Though unconfirmed, word out there in the media is that the MP's Common Fund is going to be around 800,000. And I admit, we can't confirm as of now. So I'm putting it out there. About 800,000 cedis. For the many other things they have to do. Though, mind you, technically, MPs are not agents of development. So from the Common Fund, what Mr. Ibrahim was, lamenting to me the other day, oh, but MPs, we have to do this in our constituencies. You have about that sum coming your way. And then an extra 150 for just monitoring on education. Do you get the picture? When it comes to such matters, you will not hear PIM from the minority. Nothing from the minority. But when it comes to other issues, you want to talk about it. Is it that when it comes to chop or issues that money can be sought, that one, I've not heard one minority person talking about this. I'm lampooning both of them, majority and minority, because it doesn't really make sense, does it? It doesn't. How can you say you need 150,000 to monitor something that is worth only 200,000 Ghana cedis? How does that work? When it's time for money to go around, everybody is quiet. And that one, everybody will take it and put it on themselves. Kule. No, complaint about that because they will all benefit from it. But is this moral? Is it how many working Ghanaians earn up to the 150,000 they are going to be using for monitoring? How many Ghanaians today in a year earn 150,000? You'd have to be earning what? How much per month? Over 10,000 cedis per month to be able to get that. Maybe 12,500, 13,000 cedis. So let's contemplate it from that angle sometimes. If you look at the ordinary Ghanaian and you look at some of these sums we throw around, Charlie, the country hard. Oh. But let's look at further details when it comes to this. Next slide. The breakdown, the use of the GetFund allocations by MPs is supposed to go into construction, renovation or expansion of schools, provisions of desks, chairs, whiteboards and computers, financial assistance for needy students, supplying educational resources, that is textbooks, exercise books, mathematical sets, and more. Next slide. So on that point, please, let's contemplate. I mean, something can be done about it. The disbursals have not happened yet. Something should be done about it, I think, because we can't have this kind of lack of equality in the system. If you're going to use that money, then we should then put the MPs to the sword for them to account for every peswa of the 150K and how it was used to do the monitoring. How about that? But that brings me to my second point. Yesterday, we had our national dialogue on, the fire service from ashes to action and all of that. My heart breaks sometimes. I understand the fire service is not living up to our high standards as a country, but you can't hold someone to certain standards when you are not giving them the right tools. You are not giving them enough. Let's face it. whether it's crane, tenders or the normal tenders or other things we need to equip the fire service with, as a country, for a long time, we have failed. And I will explain why. The fire service has been appealing for tools. It says it would be a great initiative for corporate Ghana and well-meaning Ghanaians if they supported the fire service with some life-saving extrication tools. Extrication tools, like, let's go to the next slide. This was actually a post by the Ghana National Fire Service. And that is what I just read. And with the hashtag, support the Ghana National Fire Service now. Yes, I agree. Private enterprise, all of us can contribute. But are we also saying that as a country and as an administration and as a government, we can't get basic extrication tools? If it has not been done in the past, would we continue that way until the next fire at a market, in someone's house? Or does it have to hit some politician's house before we go see, say, Charlie, the matter chop hot? I mean, it was good for the fire service to post this because we've asked them to do more, but it was also sad seeing this. Charlie, it's heartbreaking. How can we hold them to such lofty standards and then do this to them? Extrication tools. Come on, we can do better. And here's where it gets even worse. Next slide. 2024 fire service budgetary allocation, 1.077 billion. You may think this is a lot. It's a drop in a bucket, basically. Next slide. And if you juxtapose what we give the fire service and what we expect of them to what we give the police service and maybe what we get from them, yeah? Because the latest poll, it says corruption. Or that. I'm not saying the police service is, no. There are very fine police officers and they are also doing their bit. But if we want to be fair, look at it. Fire service versus Ghana Police Service. This is the budget in brown or magenta or red that you see of the fire service. 702 million in 2022. Ghana Police Service, 3.1 billion. And we're always sending vehicles, motorbikes to them. Look at the fire service in 2024, 1.07 billion. And then you have the Ghana Police Service shooting up to 4.6 billion. I'm not saying the Ghana Police Service shouldn't get what it's getting. We need policing, even for a 24-hour economy. But you can't do this to the Ghana Fire Service and expect them to do magic. They are not magicians. Do you get what I'm saying? They are not magicians. So let's be fair to them, and then we can hold them to those high standards. But you have even Ghanani hydrant you've built on top of it. Now, when there's a fire, they have to use a pickaxe to open. And you are sitting there saying, fire service, fire service. How about you? Next slide. But the last bit I want to deal with has to do with President Mahama. Is he fulfilling his promises? We are keeping track, and we said we would, and we shall. So, progress on Mahama's 120-day social contract. 87 days so far. Next slide. In terms of progress, at least 8 of these promises have been completed. 9 are in progress. 8 have not even started yet. So let's break it down. Next slide. If you look at the completed promises, e-levy betting and emissions taxes abolished, gone. Seed money for Women's Development Bank, we heard it in the budget, 50+ million Ghana cedis. National economic and education dialogues have been held. Free level 100 and free tertiary for persons with disabilities. All done. Next slide. Then outstanding promises, scrapping COVID-19 levy. That one has not gone yet. Banning political appointees from purchasing state assets. We've not got a conclusion on that yet. Code of conduct for government officials, restructuring loss-making state-owned enterprises for profitability. I guess that is part of what is happening with ECG. Streamlining government scholarships administration. And let's go to the next slide. So if you look at it, in terms of progress on Mahama's 120-day social contract, 68% of promises are unfulfilled, not fulfilled as of today. We have 33 days left. Next slide. But a further breakdown would show that the progress on Mahama, the promises in progress, right, constituting the leanest and most efficient government, it's also not completely done because of some other bits left in there. Then scrapping COVID-19 levy, forensic audits on financial mismanagement cases, the 24-hour economy policy, and banning illegal and new mining activities in forest reserves. Some of these are ongoing. And then launching the Black Star experience, reopening investigations into unresolved criminal cases. The Ahmed Hussein Swale one is ongoing. Probing the VRA's Akosombo and Pong dam spillage, and then compensating flood victims in Oti, Bono East and Savannah regions. If you put the composite together, this is what, next slide. The progress in terms of after the completion of promises in progress, if you add that to the ones that have already been completed, you'd be looking at 68% of promises that would have been completed. As for the others that have not been touched at all, only time will tell, like the 24-hour economy policy. So this is what you'd be looking at if those in progress as of today are completed. But there's still a lot more work to be done. And government must be on the grind because we are watching and we shall keep our eyes where it is. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. These are my blunt thoughts served to you, raw, hot, unedited, undiluted. As always, Ghana first. May God bless Ghana and make her great and strong.